So how many of you have seen preppers in their videos telling you how important it is for you to stockpile heirloom seeds? But how many of you actually see these same preppers in their videos actually showing you how to grow heirloom plants and actually save their seeds? So in today's video, you're actually going to see how easily this is done as long as you know what you're doing. We just have to face it, after SHTF, your beans, your rice, and your oats and other foods that you have stockpiled back is going to grow boring very fast. So in today's video, you're going to learn how to grow the very tasty herb oregano. And you're also going to learn how to harvest its heirloom seed so that you can grow 100 times more of it the following year, right after the channel intro.
Shots fired. Ambulance en route.
Okay, many of us preppers have the basic stockpiled back, such as beans and rice and pasta and potato flakes and oats, etc. But let's be honest, you can only make so many food combinations out of those items, and food boredom will set in very fast. Heck, I've even heard of people who have quit eating during a time of crisis. I guess from a combination of the stress of the crisis itself, but also because they have grown bored of the only a handful of foods that they have to eat, and then they just start withering away. So in today's video, you're going to learn just one of the options that you can use to help flavor your food, which is growing and saving the seeds of heirloom oregano so that you can continue to grow food year after year. Now, if you're not interested in oregano itself, then don't click off the video yet, because this video will still contain information that will benefit you, the prepper. Now, even if you have stockpiled seasonings with your food, eventually those will run out. So learning how all preppers should learn how they can make their own food and make their own seasonings. Simply put, learning how to grow and save the seeds from your own heirloom plants is what's actually going to make you truly self-sufficient. And one of the great things about today's video is that you're going to learn how you can take one plant and end up with hundreds of new plants just from the seeds of that one plant. This is hundreds of new plants that you can plant the following growing season. Okay, so the first thing that you're going to need, and since this video is about growing heirloom oregano, is you are going to need heirloom oregano seeds. And if you want to check out a link to the brand that I first started off with, I will put a link below and you can check them out if you want to. And you can see just how tiny these things are. These things are itty bitty. Now real quick, if you are not familiar with heirloom seeds, here is a super simple, quick explanation of what they are. Most of the seeds that you buy at the grocery store are called hybrid seeds, and hybrid seeds make for a great one-time garden, but if you try to save the seeds from vegetables that are grown from a hybrid seed, usually those seeds will be sterile and they won't produce a new garden for you the following year. Heirloom seeds, also called open pollinated seeds, they are not hybrid. They are true to form, which means that once you grow your garden from heirloom seeds, you can save those seeds from the vegetables and the fruits, and then you can plant those seeds next year and they will actually produce plants and fruits and vegetables for you. And another excellent thing about heirloom seeds is, and I think this is something that I don't think enough preppers stress this enough in their videos about heirloom seeds, is you will usually get dozens and sometimes hundreds of seeds just from one heirloom plant. So you start off with one little plant, the following year you can have 100 new plants producing hundreds of more vegetables if you have the space to expand like that. So anyways, with planting these, you just grab, since these seeds are so small, you just grab a pinch of them and you just drop them right on top of the soil. And I'll plant these about right around 2 feet apart, something like that. And then once I drop them onto the soil, about 4, 5, 6 seeds or whatever, once I drop them onto the soil, then I'll just push just a little bit of dirt over them. Basically, these seeds seeds are basically remaining at the top of the soil. Anyways, once some or all of these seeds germinate, once the plants reach about 3 inches high, I will just pluck all the small ones, the smaller ones, and leave the largest one to continue growing. What you're doing here is, because they're so small, what you're doing here, again, since they're so small, when you're planting multiple of the seeds, you are ensuring that at least one will germinate and start growing for you. And then by plucking away the smaller ones, you're not leaving them to all compete for the soil there. So you're just allowing the biggest and the largest one to continue growing to provide you food. So then as these plants keep growing, then you can actually start harvesting the seeds as they're actually growing, because they'll produce more leaves that you can use to flavor your food with. And you can either pluck them off the plant and use them while they're green, or you can actually pluck them off or cut the stems and hang them up to dry so they can, flavor your food and feed you throughout the winter time. Now, I will pretty regularly pluck leaves off and throw them onto roasts and into stews. But me and my wife have combined the oregano that we grow with the heirloom Cherokee tomatoes that we grow, and we have made some kick-butt spaghetti sauce with the stuff out of our garden that will go great with the pasta that I've gotten from the LDS home food storage center. Now, after a couple months of growing during the warm season, when it starts getting later into the season, you will see that the oregano plants will actually start to develop flowers. Now, just a quick tip is, once the plant goes to flower, a lot of the oil, a lot of the energy or whatever goes towards those flowers. So your oregano leaves will have a stronger and better flavor before it comes to flower. But anyways, the heirloom seeds to those heirloom oregano plants are actually inside those little flowers. And again, you can see here in this video, I've got purple flowers that are still viable flowers that you do not want to harvest the seeds from yet, because the seeds won't be formed yet. But what you want to wait for is for the flowers to turn brown and crumbly and to die off. Those will be the flowers that you get the seeds from. And then you just take those brown crumbly flowers, you point them downwards and just flick them with your fingers, and those little tiny heirloom oregano seeds will just fall out into your palm or the plate or whatever you're using to collect the seeds with, the fallen seeds with. And again, hopefully you can see just how tiny these oregano seeds are. They are just tiny little dots. Now, I almost always get just a tiny little bit of debris that will also fall from the flower down onto the plate with the seeds. And what I do there is I just ever so lightly just blow on the plate, and that chafing will usually kind of blow away and leave the seeds behind. Now, oregano is actually a perennial, which means that you could actually plant that and leave it, and it will grow back year after year without having to plant new seeds. But if SHTF happens, and if you only have 3 oregano plants and you want 20 oregano plants because you can no longer buy oregano or food from the grocery store, this is where you would want to know how to save the seeds. And plus, eventually those plants, while they do come back year after year, eventually those plants will die off and you will be forced to plant brand new plants. Also too, you can save these seeds and you can barter with those seeds to trusted people. Now, after I collected the seeds, all I do is just simply make up a seed packet, and I put them in that seed packet and I just store them in my office or in a closet over the winter months, and come the following spring, I never have any issue, at least with the brand that I've bought in the past, I've never had any issue with them germinating and growing new heirloom oregano plants the following year. So if you haven't started experimenting with growing heirloom plants, heirloom vegetables and fruit yet, I really highly suggest that you do. As a prepper, I really highly suggest that you do. For one, not every seed gets saved like what you've seen in this video. Some seeds are easier to save, and some other seeds can be more difficult. And some seeds need to go through what's called like a stratification process, where you have to mimic that seed being wet and cold for so many months, and otherwise it won't germinate the following month. Now these heirloom oregano seeds are very easy, just flicking the flower, the dead flower, and the seeds fall out for you and you throw those in a packet. These are very easy, but again, as a prepper, you really want to practice and learn on these heirloom seeds so that you have a better chance of survival after SHTF and the grocery store shelves are stripped bare. So let's now make this video a wealth of information for anybody that stumbles across it. Won't you do me a favor and please comment below with some of your favorite tips and tricks with growing and saving heirloom vegetables. And also comment below with what you feel like would be the best heirloom vegetables and fruits for preppers to grow, and why do you think that? And if you would like to learn what kind of lighting that most preppers will be using after SHTF, then click on the video that should be appearing at the top of the screen just about now to learn more about that. And if you would like to learn how serious preppers will be purifying their water after SHTF, and to also see what method I utilize to take green dirty lake water and turn it into perfectly crystal clear safe water to drink, and I also drink this water on video, then click on the video that should be appearing on the right side of the screen just about now to learn more about that. Anyways folks, if you made it this far, hey, thank you very much for watching, and I pray that you have a good night.